A new report shows millennials are waiting longer than any other generation to tie the knot. Experts attribute this to many things, including financial stability. So tonight, I talked to one of the experts, a marriage counselor, to see the trends that she's noticed and what might happen in the future.
Gone are the days of getting married, having kids, and settling down before you hit 25, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. In their report, it says couples are waiting longer than ever to get married. The average age for men is 29, and for women, it's 27. But the question is, why?
And I have noticed the age increase.
Jody Clark is a marriage counselor who's seen the change firsthand, and one reason she thinks millennials are waiting is because of their careers.
I think a lot of people are placing emphasis on their career development and becoming established in their professional lives.
She also says the millennial generation is more intensely focused on marrying the right person.
Part of the idea of people waiting is really that fear that they're going to miss something.
She thinks they want to avoid mistakes and the high divorce rates of prior generations. Also, they're more selective and willing to work on their relationship before marriage.
I think they work very hard, but I do think there is a lot of really heightened expectation for what this should look and feel like.
And with or without the heightened expectations, millennials can afford to be picky. It's easier to meet singles than it was back in the disco era when couples were getting married in their early 20s. And as far as the future of this trend, relationship experts say it's hard to tell when or if people will tie the knot sooner or later.
And so on top of everything else, accessibility plays a big role too when it comes to waiting to find the perfect match. Dating apps bring dozens of potential partners right to your phone, your computer screen, and that hasn't only changed how easy we can meet others, but it's also given us way more options. So we'll see how the trend goes in the next few years.